Okay, today what I want to do is go over posing a modern game bantam. When judges judge exhibition poultry, what they're doing is they're looking at the total bird, but they're also looking at all these different traits that make up the bird. So for example, here we have a modern game bantam cockerel. Cockerel is a male that's less than a year old, okay? So when they're judging these birds, they'll look at all these different traits. They'll look at the back length, shape, size. They look at the wings. In case of moderns, they should stick out here at the wing fronts. So there's lots of different traits they look for. And these traits are worth certain numbers of points. Okay, for example, looking at the eye color may only be worth 1 point. The back is worth different numbers of points and so on. But with modern game bantams, they have to pose. And in the case of moderns, station, which is posing, is worth 10 total points. And if you had an absolutely perfect bird, that bird would get a total score of 100 points. So in the case of moderns, station or posing is worth 10 points or 10% of the total bird's value in a show. So you need to make sure that your birds know how to pose and pose correctly. So what I'll do today is I'm going to pose these birds, show you some of the things you should be looking for, okay? So once you get your birds trained, periodically you'll want to go and work with them a little just to make sure that they don't forget how to pose correctly. These birds have all been trained, so I'll work with them and show you some points. Okay, this male is a Birchin, and Birchin refers to the variety or the color. So these Birchins, they have silver heads, they have white lacing on the breast, white on the back, on the wing bows, which is this right here. Okay, so when you're posing birds, the judges will use a judging stick. And there's different types of judging sticks. There's ones like this, also others like this. So basically it's a pointer. So you want to work with your birds using the judging stick. So the bird should not be afraid of it. So you should be able to go, and when you're posing them, you want to start low, go up the breast to the neck, and lift their head. Okay, this guy's poking at a little bit. I haven't worked with him a lot lately. There we go. The wing should be up high, so I'm lifting his wing up for him. The head should be above the feet. Ideally, he'll put that foot forward. There we go. And some people, notice he's standing up so his back toe's off the ground of hair. Okay, some judges don't like that. But it doesn't actually say in the standard they can't do that. It says the head is supposed to be directly above the feet. A lot of times though, if they're up on that back toe, with that back toe off the ground, they're leaning forward, so they're not posed correctly. So it's not so much the back toe needs to be flat on the ground, it's they have to have that head in the correct position. So he wants to stand tall with his head up. The tail on male should be almost horizontal. His tail is good. One thing where this male can improve, notice his wing. It goes past the stern or the back end of him just a hair. It should not do that. It should end at the stern or even a little before. It's okay. But this male's a nice tall male, got a long lanky neck. You want them to have those long lanky necks, long legs, short back, a wide body. So he's a pretty good male. I'll definitely be using him as a breeder, even though his wings are hair long, but I'll breed him with a short-backed female. And I should get some good young, I believe. Okay, this is another modern game bantam cockerel, but this is a black-breasted red. See, he's black in the breast. Turn him a little bit. And he's got this reddish-orange color on him. So this is called a black-breasted red, so it's a different variety than the Birchin. Posing, though, everything's still exactly the same. You want to go up the breast, have them stretch their neck, have the head be parallel above the feet. And again, the tail should be pretty close to horizontal. He's got a very nice position to his tail. I'd like to see him stretch his head a little more. One way you can work on that, though, you can use soft dog food, like that old Roy dog food. So I've got some here. So what I'll do is I'll get him to stretch his neck by giving him this treat. So now you see with my hand, he's doing it. And sometimes you'll see judges posing them like that with their hand. So if the judge does that, See, he thinks he's going to get a treat, but really what he's doing is I've tricked him into posing for me. So that's something you can do. Use that soft dog food, get them used to eating it. And then you can use that or just your bare hand to make them pose. And they should hold their pose. He's doing pretty good. See how he's still standing with his pose after I pose him? Moderns are a very tame bird. So you work with them, handle them. You know, a lot of times you hear roosters being mean. Well, obviously this guy's pretty tame. So he's a nice bird. And notice his wings aren't quite so long as the other guys, as that birchin. He's a good bird. Okay, this is a different birchin male than the first one that you saw. This guy's not quite as tall. Let's see if I can sort of compare them. So notice how he's taller. That was the first one. But this guy's still good. Being tall is not the only important thing for moderns. You want them tall, but they also have to be the proper weight. A lot of times when you get tall birds, they end up being too heavy. In the case of a modern game bantam, the cockerels should be 20 ounces, and the cock, which is a male that's a year or older, should be 22 ounces. This guy here, if I weighed him, I think he's right at the exact weight. I wanted to point out, see his wings, they're not going past that stern. Again, lift him up. His tail could be just a teeny hair lower, but it's not bad. But what I'm doing, kind of telling him, hey, your tail's a little too high. So when you're working with your birds, you can do that. You can use your judging stick to help put their tail down. There we go. Look how his legs are parallel with one another, which is nice. He's got a real good pose. I was thinking of showing that taller bird, but I'm going to show him instead, simply because the way that male's holding his wings for the tall bird, they're just a hair too long. I don't like that. This guy's got great color on his breast. It's approximately where it should go to. So I'll work with him a little more, get him a little used to the stick again. Let me move him. Come here. Stand there. He's got a real nice, pretty tail, like those long sickles. He's a nice male. I got one more birchin male I want to show you now. There you go. Hold it. There. He's a real nice bird. Okay, here's the third birchin male that I wanted to show you. Notice the angle of his tail. I really like that. It's just a hair above horizontal, which is really what you want. I want to see that sickle up above that main tail feather. And again, make him stretch up, make him pose. Got to fix that wing feather. He's not quite as tame as the other two. Just some of them, their personality is like that. But he's still a really good bird, real nice tight bird. Type, again, is their overall shape, the quality of them. So type is most important. Notice the wings where they stop, it's really nice. Want to see him stretch up a little more on his legs. Could be a little straighter here, but you don't want them perfectly straight. If they're perfectly straight, that's called stilt leg, and you don't even want to use those birds as breeders, okay? The legs should not be perfectly straight like they're standing on a stilt. They always should have a little bend to them. Let me give him a little dog food. Here, stretch up, my friend. So getting him to stretch up. This guy wants some. So they really like these treats. So now, oh look, the judge comes by. Oh boy, this bird's stretching up nice. See, he's not quite as tame. So when I have him like that, what I'll do, you know, he's used to eating this dog food, so I'll give it to him with my hand in the cage. So that makes him more comfortable with the hand in the cage. So the show that we have is in a week. So I'm going to work with him a little more over the next couple days. Just make sure, you know, that he's good and comfortable with posing. So it's great sharing some of this with you. If you have questions, of course, you can post them in comments. I'll see if I can address them. Baby red, I love these just because it's such a beautiful color. Again, modern's real tame birds. They have to pose because that's worth 10% of their total score. An absolutely perfect bird in every way. could score 100 points. Posing is 10 of that 100 points.
I have a chapter in this book on how to pose moderns.